Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum, TEIF, and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Law Leadership and Legacy in the Council's Chair. We have with us Paras Parekh, founder of Paras Parekh Law Office. From cutting his teeth at stalwarts like AZBN Partners and JSA to serving as partner at Parinam Law Associates to leading as senior partner at RHP Partners, Paras recently embarked on a new chapter by launching his own practice, Paras Parekh Law Office. In his 2 decade long legal career, he has shaped critical developments in Indian law and carved out a niche of influence and trust. Join us as we explore the mindset behind the leap from legacy firms to entrepreneurship, the nuances of legal counsel, and the personal life behind the professional prowess. So, welcome, Paras, to today's coffee conversation.
Thank you.
So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books, we help law firms, corporate legal startups, and SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, friends, we are at AWFI's co-working space, and let me explain you the format, the flow. There are 3 rounds: professional, personal, and a rapid fire where you will be in the hot seat and you will get your gift also, shipping agency lawyer. So let's begin. So Paras, how was the journey shaped up and what were the key defining moments?
Well, I've had a good run, I would think, with the profession. I started off as an associate with a law firm where we used to appear for the regulator, the Securities Exchange Board of India. I think that was one of the best professional sort of developments for me, because that is where I got the insight into the working of a good regulator. And that is how we understood how to sort of go about the nuances of securities laws from the perspective of people who are responsible for setting it up and for enforcing it. So I think that was one of the key moments where key developments where that really helped me in my professional journey. The second more defining moment was when I joined AZB. AZB is where I got amazing insights into how a really professional law firm of international standards in India is run. What are the prerequisites that one must have to be a good lawyer, apart from anything else? After which I joined JSA, which is where I learned the importance of maintaining a very distinct personal life along with your professional life. JSA was one firm where we got sort of the liberty to develop ourselves as human beings also, more than just lawyers. And after that, my 2 stints at Parinam and RHP, where I got insights into how to be part of the management team and sort of run the day-to-day functionings of a law firm. And now when I'm on my own, where I'm sort of looking at things to from a personal standpoint, how to develop myself professionally from a personal standpoint. So each of these have been an important part of my growth as a professional and as an individual. And I've really enjoyed all of those.
Beautiful. So let's dive deep into the conversation, Paras. How important do you think formal education in security laws and economics has been in shaping your broader legal thinking?
I think the education that I got on the security side, of course, a lot of it was practical, based on appearing before the appellate tribunal and before the regulator. But the formal part of it, I did the securities law course, and I would definitely recommend it as an important curriculum to participate in if somebody is interested in securities laws, because it has a very unique way of developing people and bringing them up to speed on how to read securities laws. And it is not just a typical curriculum where you mug up your subjects and you sort of go there and write an exam. The uniqueness of this course is that you actually participate in a process where you are made to think of how to apply the law. So I think it's very important given the right faculty. So I was fortunate to be part of that.
Beautiful. Okay. So looking back at time, like you said, okay, you have been at various law firms, AZB, JSA, Parinam. What do you believe shaped your style as a lawyer and leader the most?
I think I've learned a lot from each one of them. For instance, in AZB, I think Zia's leadership qualities, her ability to think through issues, her ability to grasp the right perspective of a legal issue was phenomenal. Her insistence, and now I realize rightly so, on processes is fantastic. I think I have not seen a better leader than her in terms of being able to manage a huge organization like that while retaining the personal touch. So that is something I took away from AZB. For instance, at JSA, I learned a lot from people like Mr. Burgess Desai, who has a very zen type of an approach of letting you be as a leader without
Mm.
micromanaging you and bringing the best out of you. Mr. Somshekhar Sundaresan, who is one of the best names in securities matters, and now who's a uh, very renowned and a very well respected judge in the Bombay High Court. So each of them have really been instrumental in me growing as a professional.
That's interesting. So, Paras, what's been your approach in navigating high pressure mandates while maintaining client trust?
I think each mandate has its own set of challenges. At the same time, each mandate has a set of good points that really help navigate it better. For instance, with a lot of my clients, I feel that I derive a lot of comfort knowing about their intrinsic philosophy. For instance, organizations like NSDL or Kotak, I, in my interaction with them, I have found them to be highly ethical or highly focused on wanting to do the right thing in the larger ecosystem. That helps me build a lot of confidence because when I'm representing them, I know that I'm sort of always going to be siding with someone who wants to do the right thing. Then there are organizations that have skills in terms of their business acumen, who know exactly what is required from a business standpoint. Those organizations I am able to focus on the business side of arguing a particular perspective. So depending on the philosophy, depending on how what is the fundamental idea that a organization functions on, is something that really enables me to make the most of my argument for them.
Beautiful. Okay. So let's go your days at senior partner at RHP Partners. How did you balance client strategy with team mentorship?
I never saw them as two distinct things. I always saw that your ability as a mentor is to bring everyone up to speed on what the ultimate client requirement is. So I think that it really aligns very well in the larger scheme of things if you are able to communicate well to the team what is in the best interest of the client. And I've been fortunate that my colleagues have been matured enough to really understand it and align with it. So I think that has really worked well for me.
Wow. Okay. Now, what's been the most interesting or challenging case, and how did you navigate, and what were the learnings?
So there have been many, but I think the most interesting ones are the ones where you are representing a client with multiple proceedings in multiple jurisdictions. Of course, within India, But say, for instance, where you're representing a particular client in a dispute between shareholders, where typically how it happens is that you will always have proceedings before the company law tribunal and the high courts, and you will always have criminal proceedings. There would always be an IPR angle thrown in. There would sometimes be a money laundering sort of an angle thrown in, criminal proceedings, things like that. So I think those are the more anytime that I'm involved in a proceeding involving a shareholders dispute, I find those to be very interesting because those enable me to look at each proceeding from the perspective of what that proceeding is intended for, while retaining the overall strategy in mind, and at the same time ensuring that one proceeding, whatever we say in one proceeding or what stand we take in one proceeding, doesn't have a negative impact on any other proceeding. So I think those are more complex and more interesting from a legal standpoint.
Wow. So, Paras, how have you seen the Indian legal ecosystem evolve when you began in 2005 to now in 2025, especially the securities law?
So the overall ecosystem is what it is. I mean, I think one thing that has really evolved when I started in 2002 as an intern. I thought that if I made about 35,000 in the next 7 8 years, I would have arrived in life. But when I started my first stint with AZB, that is what I was offered to begin with. So one thing I realized is that the world has moved very fast on in the legal ecosystem. It moved very fast after, I think it started moving in after 91 when we liberalized the economy, but especially after about 2001 or so, when that impact of liberalization really started percolating into the legal fraternity, it has moved quite fast ever since. So I feel that aspect has really worked. I think the other important sort of area where it developed was when it went online, especially after the COVID situation where courts went online. I think that enabled scope for a lot of digital filings, a lot of digitalization of our courtrooms. Also, the openness that it afforded, where you didn't have to be somewhere to really appear before a court. I mean, no one would have thought of it in 2019, but it was a pleasant move that really enabled the system to take leaps forward. Especially on the security side, I think one good thing that I find is that it is a constantly evolving and a rapidly evolving system. So what used to be the legal ecosystem a few years back has really evolved into something more streamlined, something more sort of crystallized, something that is a lot more in black and white today, with scope for further development. And I think credit must be given to the way our financial market regulator as a whole has functioned, because I think SEBI as a whole has really improved its game over the years. So I think that has been an interesting part of the job.
Wow. So, AI is everywhere. So, how is AI impacting securities work for lawyers?
So I think not just from securities viewpoint, but from an overall viewpoint, I think AI has enabled one to get rid of a junior colleague. I think that is the most that it has done. It has enabled a lot more precision in the manner in which we deal with data. It has enabled a lot more precision in the way we formulate our pleadings. It has helped personally for me. It is very helpful when it comes to crystallizing processes, court processes. So, for instance, your synopsis get done easily. It's just your entire grammar check is one click away. Your entire syntax is taken care of. So yeah, it has taken over. I think right now we are at a very nascent stage where, while we can't rely on it for any thinking and development, but we can definitely rely on it for the purposes of the way we want our documentation to look. So that part, I think it has taken over completely, at least for me. For me, I have to run every draft through a chat GPT or any of these platforms to check for grammar, to check for consistency, sentences, paraphrasing, things like that, so that part I think is really helpful.
Wow. So let's come to your recent journey. You've just started Paras Parekh Law Offices after years at some of India's most respected law firms. I'm dividing in two parts. What inspired this move towards independent practice? And my second question will be, what will be some of the challenges and freedom that will come with being your own boss?
Yeah. So to answer the first part, I think the reason why it seems like a really good opportunity is that it enables me to really do things the way I want to do. Sometimes as part of a collective, you are required to take care of things that you don't feel like participating in terms of the basic operational work, but you have to because you are part of a collective. But here what it does is that it helps me sort of streamline my processes in a way that I don't have to worry about any other voice that I have to take care of, while all that also helps in the larger scheme of things with a lot of maneuvering with various things. But overall I think it makes sense to sort of have a setup like this for me, where I'm not fettered by the requirements of a day-to-day functioning of a larger organization. I'm free to dedicate a lot more of my time to say research or focusing on my intrinsic work. I think the reason why I could really think about it also was because uh, I was able to, and I'm fortunate in that sense, to have the confidence of a lot of my clients who have moved with me. So I think about 80-85% of people I work with regularly are people who have stayed with me over maybe more than a decade, because for them it's only a change of an email address when I'm in a new setup. But essentially it's that comfort of knowing that they are interacting with someone, one of their own. I think that has been the biggest motivating factor.
No. Got it. So, my last question, what advice would you give to young lawyers who want to move from associate roles to leadership positions in law, or they want to start their own practice after some period?
So I think leadership positions is something that every associate lawyer should naturally aspire for, because it is part of their natural evolution as a lawyer. So if we are not doing that, then I mean we are going against the natural order. I think what has helped, and I learned about it with a lot of trial and error because of my own obstinance rather than my seniors actually teaching me. They did teach me a lot of times, but I learned it quite late in life. Is that one should have complete mastery over what their scope of work is. Once one is able to do that, for instance, if I, as an associate, as a junior associate, if I am required to draft something, I should have complete mastery over my drafting. My boss, my senior, should not have to worry about me going wrong with the way I formulate my sentences, with my legal arguments, with my research. So I think it all boils down to a simple term called dependability. If we are able to develop that ability of dependability, where in whatever limited scope that we have in our setup, we are doing the best to our fullest. I think that is the best way to move forward in life.
Beautiful. So, let's go to the next round and understand Paras as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So I come from a family of about 6 lawyers. We are all in different spheres of the law and doing different types of work. I live with my mother, my wife, and my son, and we are in that sense a large family. My uncle and all of us are quite close. Almost all of us are lawyers, so that is a common binding factor for all of us. I actually got interested in law because during my 10th standard, during my school vacations, I used to go with my uncle. I used to carry the bag. I was literally one of the ground staff. And I once heard Mr. Dr. Virendra Tulzapurkar argue in court, and I was so impressed by the way he was able to articulate these points, and he was the reason I decided to pursue law. So I think that is one of my most cherished memories from back then.
Wow. So let's go to your college days at Rizvi and Mithibai. What are your memories and your experiences over there?
So Mitibai, of course, we I wasted a lot of time as one does in college. But one good thing that came out of it was that I met my wife when I was in college. So I think that was the only saving grace. But other than that, I think. But yeah, we made some good friendships. We understood a lot of. So one good thing that came out of my college experience was that I got to interact with a whole spectrum of people. So I was able to interact with people who are very academically driven. I was able to interact with people who are driven towards having their own businesses. I could interact with people who had notions of wanting to get into public service and things like that. So each of those worldviews enabled me to sort of integrate into myself the best of what I saw in them. I think as far as Rizvi was concerned, I spent very little time actually, with my academics, because back then I would attend college just for my basic sort of attendance requirement. Other than that, most of my day was spent working with a law firm, and that I think was a very good decision. My uncle made me do that. I myself wasn't interested in doing it, but my uncle insisted that I do that. And in hindsight, I think that was one of the best things that happened, because those years I had a free hand at learning whatever I wanted to, and all of that is really helpful today to me when I'm in this phase of my life.
Wow. Okay. So are there any hobbies or creative pursuits that you still hold on to?
So I like to read. We have a small group where we follow some bit of spirituality. We discuss spirituality. We try to imbibe that in our life. My family is also part of it. They also see the merit of it. We have a living teacher. We try to go and spend as much time with him as possible. He helps us with becoming the best in whatever we do, whether we are pursuing in terms of pursuing our profession, being good with your colleagues, being good with your family. So I think that part is something that I really enjoy doing.
Wow. So what's one tradition or festival that holds deep personal meaning for you and your family?
So I think the tradition of what we follow the path of Jainism, and in Jainism we have everyone knows about Paryushan, and it is typically perceived as some one period of 9 days where you don't eat certain things and you follow certain restrictions. But our system that we follow, my teacher follows, is very different. Where what we do is, in those days we sort of introspect into how our lives are and what we do on a daily basis. So we give that time to enable ourselves to really go back and look at what are things that we could improve on. I think that traditionally, although it's a traditional format, but it's very helpful on a personal level.
Wow. So what does a typical Sunday look like for Paras Parekh when he's not reviewing legal briefs?
Yeah, so typically we wake up late. The mornings we have 1 hour of hearing a spiritual discourse, which is relayed on YouTube. And after that, the wife and I, because most days for us are hectic. We spend almost 2 hours commuting back and forth. Since I live in the suburbs, I spend about 2 hours commuting back and forth to work. I think we want to really not go out anywhere, and we end up watching a lot of TV and, like, having a lot of discussions and just generally playing with the son. So typically it's just time spent with the family.
Wow. So if your friends had to describe you in 3 words, what would it be?
My friends,
Yeah.
uh, maybe they would call me compassionate. Maybe they would call me selfless, uh, and maybe they would call me lazy.
Wow. So what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally, Paras?
Uh, I'll start with professionally. I what I want to do is I want to, uh, from a larger standpoint of the way the securities market is, the securities law market is. I want to sort of do more work, because in the past few years, uh, we've sort of, I feel, a little bit of a defocus on the securities side, because we have been pursuing other avenues, other sort of practice areas. I want to come back personally, and I want to consolidate a lot more of our practice on the securities side. So professionally, that is something that I want to really focus on, and I want to get that part going. And now that I have my own setup, I have more flexibility, I would say, to sort of focus on that aspect of it. Personally, I think I would like to maybe improve more as an individual. Maybe I would like to be more streamlined. I would like to be more sort of maybe exercise more, or maybe manage my time much better. I think time management is one area that I want to really focus more on at a personal level.
Wow. So my last one is a googly one. Describe Paras in one line.
RS in one line. I think I would describe myself as a learner.
Beautiful. So let's go to next round and put you in the hot seat. Your favorite color?
Black.
A mantra you live by?
Um, do unto others what you want unto yourself.
One word that defines you as a lawyer.
Passionate.
Favorite Mumbai restaurant?
Mumbai restaurant, Vaibhav Cafe.
Favorite Jain food dish?
Uh, Paneer butter masala.
Best piece of advice received?
Best piece of advice received. Uh, Zia told me to start my own firm.
Wow, beautiful. Coffee shop brainstorm or quiet library reading?
Quiet library.
Your dream travel place?
Chennai, because that's where my teacher lives.
Hmm, interesting. Your favorite comfort food after a long work day?
Uh, Khichdi.
Tea or coffee to recharge?
Tea.
Let's just test. You did well. Paras's gift.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, it has been autographed also. So, friends, it was a lovely conversation having with Paras Parekh. So, all those young legal professionals who want to go into securities law, watch this episode, and all those lawyers who want to take a jump of starting their own practice. This is the episode where you'll get to know that after 2 decades, Paras has taken the leap to form his own law firm, and so there are a lot of insights. So, like the 500 coffee speakers have shared their journey, professional, personal. Subscribe, get inspired, and if you want to be featured like Paras, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or our LinkedIn page, and put in a word with one of the coffee speakers. They would connect you with Team Coffee, and you would be invited to have in person or on Zoom, whether in India or international, to have coffee conversations. So thank you. We meet with another coffee speaker on Monday, and watch the panel discussion on Father's Day, where we have got 4 coffee speakers sharing their journey of being partners and providers. Thank you.
Thank you.